I'm happy to go first.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I didn't prepare any talking points, so I apologize for stumbling through this, but I'm just going to share my screen and show off. I made a portfolio this week. I updated it. Let me know when you can see my screen.
You can see it.
Cool. So I'm launching a new practice with unlimited design services, and I'm offering web design, web development for tech startups. I'm also applying for full-time jobs in Dublin at the moment, and some, I guess, contractor roles on Y Combinator right now. And this is the portfolio that I put together. I also put together a new website and some design samples to go along with that website. So let me just dive into it. Here, as I was building out my portfolio, I recognized at every company that I work at, I don't just do the website or I don't just do the brand. I sort of put together a design system. So I don't know if this is the best way to display this information, but I'm starting with a design system for all three of these companies. There are some other projects that I've done, but I didn't want to spend forever working on my portfolio. So this is what I have so far. I start with an About Me section, thanking them for taking a look at my portfolio. Talk about how I'm a digital designer and Webflow developer, what type of companies that I work with, where my passion lies in terms of my design ethos. So very user-centric design philosophies. I also talk a little bit about my career here in design and development, where that started, and what types of businesses that I've worked with. So typically a fast-paced tech startup environment is where I've worked in the past. Then I'll go into the first design system for Mission Cloud, where this was a rapid growth tech startup where I was the sole designer and I was being inundated with a bunch of requests from marketing, from sales, from product. And as we grew, the volume just escalated. And in order to address the volume, I decided to create a template library for each one of these departments. So I ended up, over the course of, I think it was 2 or 3 years, interviewing all of the employees and slowly building out a template library for the sales department, template library for the marketing department, and then for service delivery, they had specific reports that they would send out to customers. And there was, of course, also the customer service representatives who had to send out emails. So I created templates for them as well. Also, yeah, the website, email templates, social media templates. I did all of that for this company. I'm hoping to create a case study on this and then add a link to the portfolio. Raiseway is a very different situation. So Raiseway was a pre-seed round startup that had zero, I think actually it was originally called Iguchi, but that name was having issues with the American market. People were confused by the name, they didn't understand the name, and even misinterpreted the name. So one of the first things that we did was we went through a branding exercise with all of the employees, and we ended up settling on Raiseway, as in there's more than one way to raise capital for your company. So Raiseway is all about crowdfunding made easy. That was also a slogan that came out during the branding exercise. For this company, I did brand identity, I did product design, so I designed the full application from wireframing the user experience, interviewing users, potential users, to figure out what types of tools would help them, and then building that out into a high fidelity mockup, prototype, and I eventually actually coded using low code technology the alpha version of the application. I also built the website and all of the social media assets as well. So that's, you can see why I'm calling them design systems. It's because I'm usually the sole designer and I just take on a bunch of work and just execute it by myself.
And what framework did you build the website in?
Yeah, so for Mission Cloud, I did it in Jekyll CMS and then migrated it over to Webflow. And once I migrated over to Webflow, I was able to increase my velocity and take on the template library projects for all of those departments. And then having that velocity, all of that skill from Mission, I just built Raiseway from the ground up on Webflow and designed everything in Figma. Yeah. And then, oh, I built the website in Webflow and I built the application in Bubble. So two separate low code technologies.
Do those use any specific CSS frameworks?
No, but I have used Bootstrap. I have used Skeleton in the past, and I have enough understanding of those frameworks nowadays that I can name things properly. But also I don't really worry about that too much. As long as the layers are working and everything's responsive, I don't worry too much about getting every CSS class perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
So you are
Let's,
targeting, whom are you targeting? Are you targeting to people who are going to be like hiring managers, designers? Who's going to be viewing your portfolio?
Yeah, so my target audience are tech startup founders, so SaaS founders, in like the seed raise, Series A, like that area. So
And
somewhere
they are
between
gonna,
1 and 20.
and they're going to come to you to help them with the design, or
Typically, the companies, they need like a range of things. So they'll typically want to do a branding exercise, and then of course comes with like business cards, social media assets for their company page, a website, maybe an email signature, and then just like a number of other assets. If they're an events company, they're going to need signage. If they
uh,
have an in office, they're going to need stationery.
most tech guys don't really like to read too much. So you're right now, one thing is your portfolio is too much words, and most people are not going to read the whole thing. Maybe you can do the short version and explain it after, so people can just read the highlight for each stuff you did.
Yeah,
can I ask?
I do.
Can I ask a quick before we proceed? I just want to ask a quick favor for you guys. Please let's let Josh finish, and then we can go into Q&A.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. So the last slide here, as far as these case study overviews, could somebody mute? I'm getting echo. It's hard for me to concentrate. Okay.
It's Omar.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you. I think that solved it. The Few AI was another more recent case study. Problem was they lacked consistency between the design files that they had received from the initial agency and the actual Bubble application. The people who designed the application didn't really have a good grasp of the technical capabilities of Bubble's front end. So I went in and fixed all of the Bubble issues that they had. I also did a uplift for the assets and removed certain layers and certain features that were just difficult to implement in Bubble to streamline the process going from design to development, allowing the CEO, who's not necessarily a designer but understands how to use Figma, to go in and fiddle around with ideas in terms of how he wanted to manipulate the user experience. And then I made it easier for the developer to go in and create those new components or those new pages. And then that's all I have inside of the portfolio for the time being. And then I put a link to my website, my Behance, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, and my Instagram. On Twitter and Instagram, I've been posting some design challenges showing off these graphics that you see here, where maybe I'm doing this is a music app, and then this is like what VR chat might look like if it were on the Apple Vision Pro. And then here's a calculator that I designed for Amazon Web Services to calculate the cost of your services on the cloud. And then that's the end of that. And then the design samples are kind of what you were alluding to, where it's less reading, it's more just like looking at the work in full resolution. These are just some emails. This is a VR. I should probably add some context. This one's for virtual reality. Game show. This is a concept project. This is just wireframing. And then some advertising. And that's it. Yeah, that's it for me. Oh, and then Behance would be, I guess, the last thing where you could dive into more of the story, but I haven't linked that with the actual portfolio. Okay.
Thank you, Josh. That was a nice exploration of your portfolio. I can see you've done a lot of recent style design, like clean, technical, light bursts of colors, stuff that's really fitting for, yeah, certain industries. Looks good. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks
Those
nice.
bubble apps that you built with different functionality, is there one functionality that you're really like, you're like, wow, I just built that in Bubble?
So with Bubble, it was my first time building a Bubble application when I was working with Raiseway. And I had to learn what I thought was pretty serious, like coding. I don't know what you call it, but I had to learn how to create a multi-tenant environment where multiple databases were talking to one another. So I was trying to create a project management system that generated projects based on a template. So a new person comes in, they're new to crowdfunding. They need to know all of the steps from marketing, legal, finance that they need to take care of in order to create a crowdfunding campaign. There's like a lot of legal loopholes that you need to go through. And so I had to learn how to create a project that could connect with a task, that could connect with a subtask for multiple users across multiple organizations and do all of that securely. That was like the biggest, most complicated thing I ever had to do. And I was particularly proud of that.
Right on. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, Bubble is really amazing. The stuff you can build in Bubble with a few clicks and a lot of logic is impressive. Like, get whole copies of active sites like in just hours. You know, the base functionality is there to build ridiculous things in just hours. For doing those initial builds, it really is like a quick way to build that is fun and enjoyable. I enjoyed it. Thanks for sharing. It looks like a lot of cool design work. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank
Anyone
you.
else?
Thanks so much.
Questions before we move along? All right. Next on the list. Who's up next?
Yeah. Who wants
Someone
to go?
raise their hand.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, Kara, did you want to present something?
You mean on the fly, Omar?
Oh, I thought you were going to. I didn't.
No, I didn't plan on presenting, but I can
Okay.
give. Oh, I lost everybody. What happened here? There we go. So I can give a quick overview of what I do and how I work with website developers. I am a writer, an author. Just to give you a little idea, I've published this book. It's for the Friends Iconic Brand. It's a cookbook in 2020. So I wrote it. I'm also a food stylist. I did not style this particular book, but I work with brands on their website copy. I also help them with their photo assets as a stylist. So if it's headshots or creating that visual story along with the written story and the copy of the website, that's what I focus on. And I've worked with Omari on a couple projects. I think one was a hospitality website and the other was a STEAM to STEM, which is of course not my area, but I can still write on those topics. So I don't have the technical skills and I don't understand all of, the details behind the scenes, but I'm good with the visual content and working with the client to be like sort of that gap between what you're creating and what they want to get across in terms of their message. That would basically be it. I can plan a presentation in the future.
Yeah.
But
Oh, do it. My bad. My bad. I thought you had
no,
you were going to present something. My mistake. I didn't want to put you on the spot.
sorry about that. Yeah, hopefully maybe somebody else has some snippets to add in for our time. But yeah, I didn't plan.
Sure. Absolutely. Does anyone else? I think that's all of the folks that said they wanted to present something. Does anyone else have anything on the fly that they want to showcase? Maybe Elliot. I don't know if Elliot's in the room. I know Elliot said he wanted
built that I don't know. I can kind of show, and I don't know. Maybe this might be the right platform to do so.
Do it.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Let me punch it up. I'll post it in the chat. I don't know if we need to share screens. I'm not really.
Yeah, you can go ahead and share a screen.
Am I still on?
Yes.
I posted the link in the chat.
Mhm.
So if you guys want to go on there and just kind of look at it. I did it for a friend who had asked for something. So I just made something. It's for his business that he's starting, and try to give him what he had requested within tolerance of okay, how much time am I going to spend on this? How much research am I really going to go into? And I guess my question would be, is I charged him $80, and I thought I charged him too much, and I wanted to kind of refund the $80. So I guess looking at it, what would you guys estimate that time would have been worth?
I think $80 is fair. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, it works on mobile. What technology did you use to build it? Is this WordPress?
Yes, yeah, it's WordPress.
Yeah, it seems like from a technical standpoint, it's responsive. It has the content that the customer asked for. I think $80 is fair. How long did you spend making it?
Well, I had COVID, so
Mm.
and I was like, all right, I know you keep asking for it. Here you go. So like a day.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a fair day's work. Fair day's wage.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I can offer design and maybe sales recommendations.
Okay.
So oftentimes customers, they want the world. They will ask you to do a million things. And as a designer or web developer, it's our job to help structure their ideas and their content into something that's going to look and feel good for their ideal customer profile, their target audience. So, functionally the website works. I think visually it's lacking. I think it could use. I obviously don't have time to read the copy at the moment, but I can see that in a lot of sections you went with toggles or accordions, whatever you want to call them,
Yeah.
where the text is hidden by default. Typically, you want to reduce the number of clicks in order for someone to consume a piece of content, and just make things more aesthetically appealing. Like in your service section, there's not a lot of description, so I could easily see this working with an icon, the title, the description, and it just being sort of like a menu. So
Okay.
just little things to think about when you're working on your next project, or if you ever decide to update this project. Yeah, definitely take a user experience first approach, maybe wireframe it and focus on what the layout's going to look like, what the content's going to be, and then focus on the visuals. Yeah, that would help. As far as like the technology, like it loads pretty quick. It's responsive, so you got those things going for you, for sure.
Thank you.
Hey, one comment I would make is you've got contacts and you've got quotes, and the contact, you've got an email address, and I think you're going to want to remove that to avoid getting like spam scraped on the email address, and possibly for just don't publish an email address out on a web page like that. And it's very similar. The contact, like, okay, I guess I would ask, why would someone contact them other than for a quote? That's not a rhetorical question. There are reasons why, but possibly you might just want to consider combining the contact and the quote capability into one, which just increases the simplicity and should hide the, not require an email address. So that'd be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. And that's one of the reasons I went with the toggle, with the carrot, just because I wanted to give at least one barrier of like, you have to actively click it to see the email.
Yeah, but it can be scraped.
Right. But it was like more not to be a bot, like it had to be a person. So, but I understand it's yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the bot doesn't care if it's in the toggle, I don't think. Yeah, but a human does.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing, Alfonso. Awesome.
Hey, one more thing too. I mean, I would just say, in my opinion, it's worth a lot more than $80. It kind of depends, what problem you're solving for the customer, but what do they need? What problems is it solving for them? Is it generating revenue, awareness, whatever? But I would price it quite a bit higher than that, even though it's simple. I mean, what are his alternatives? So you're probably priced well under any alternatives. So do you need to do that? So just a thought.
Thank you for that. Yeah, my goal was to get him something so that he could show someone that would then be, here's what I can do, because most people like to highlight their strengths and put that on there. So if you give them something really low, they're gonna want to overdo it. So that was my top point.
I think he owes you. If you charge him $80 for this, he owes you one. So, or maybe future business.
Thank you.
I'm sure he does. Yeah. So I was actually, since we it seems like there's nobody else. Is there anybody else that wants to present? Seems like there isn't anybody else that wants to, which is perfectly fine, because
I'll take a website critique. If we're doing website critiques,
we can
take
do
a
that.
website critique.
Me too.
Okay.
Harry, you want to go first on your website critique?
Sure. I created my own in Squarespace, so please
Nice.
forgive my technical skills. I do have one little technical problem in the website, but I wrote it in the comments. It's styledelicious.com. Yeah, there. And the one page I'm having trouble with is the recipe page, where you it pre-populates from a gallery, and there's some content in there that got removed. I don't know, but other than that, I'm pleased with the look of my website. There's areas that can be improved, but I'd be curious. I know you mentioned something about not having an email on there, but I have to say that's like a pet peeve of mine when you go to somebody's website and you can't get the contact information or the email, and you have to actually go through a portal to send them a message. I find that really off-putting.
Yeah. But he's going to get spammed. That's the problem. So it's a trade-off.
I get spam all the time.
I'd rather have
just
the
deal with
client. I can deal with the spam. I don't like it, but I'd rather not, create that barrier for a client to find me.
Karen, you're using the Squarespace for your website?
I'm using Squarespace, and I don't really have the SEO dialed in. I don't know how people find me. They do find me, and it's just more a visual template,
Why I'm asking, I think you uploaded such big pictures. They're not so big, so all your images are huge. I thought the Squarespace will, I don't know, I don't work with Squarespace, but there's something you have to do. I know in Webflow, you have a command which runs, which optimizes all your images. Probably the Squarespace has some kind of function you have to run and optimize all your images too, because they load really slow for me. And they are all loaded at the same time, so there's no lazy loading. So it's probably some function, something on Squarespace you have to turn on to make your websites load faster.
Right. I'm sure that's an additional like service that or somebody with the technical background could work within Squarespace to do that, as well as I don't think it's optimized for a phone viewing as well. I mean, you can see it on your phone, but I don't think the layout or the design is optimal probably for that.
Oh, is it not responsive? Yeah, I don't think it's responsive.
No, it still opens up. You can still see everything. It's just, you know, I did it myself, and I'm a creative person. I'm not a technical person, but that's why I'm a good for some of the technical people, because I think visually I have a lot of strength.
It's a beautiful site. I think the only problem I have is where the menu is located for the images, which is at the bottom of the page instead of the top of the page. And the reason being is even though the other menu is up there, when that pop-up comes up across the thing and it covers the menu, then I experience menu coverage like feeling, and then I just have this to push my way through the pop-up, which is I guess maybe that's intentional.
You mean
Is that on the recipe publish page?
On the actual recipe page as I'm clicking.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me.
Yeah, and I feel like it's partially cut off near the bottom. If that menu object we just moved above the other one, what platform did you build it in?
Squarespace, and I wouldn't know how to do any of that. So yes, I am like the regular person that says, I'm a creative person, I'm going to go and do my website. But these are the limitations. Obviously, I don't have those extra skill sets to optimize it.
I actually really like it a lot. I think the white is very nice. I mean, if you want to push it further, there could be a background, but the white that you picked is super nice. Like, if it was a background, it'd be very tasteful and super low key. It would only be there as an accent on top of it. But overall, I mean, I thought it was it's a pleasant experience going through the site. I think the call to action, I guess, is like, especially here, is like, what is the call to action? What are you asking for? What is your ask? Like, hire me to write your articles or write your copy. Hire me. Get a real copywriter involved to create your, you know, to reach your audience. Yeah.
Okay, that's good feedback.
Do you feel like you write in many different styles? You feel like you can adapt as you move from client to client in your writing styles? I read the writing, and I'm just wondering, how does that work for you? Is that something that you vocal for? Or like, I mean, I'm just wondering this. Okay.
I think my strength is actually writing people's stories. So you say different style. My writing style is fairly consistent, but when it comes to the content, for example, if I'm writing about an educator that has a STEAM to STEM platform or website, then I'm writing their story based on who they are. So I think I'm good at getting in there and finding out from just, you know, a writing discipline of who they are and creating that story that makes them interesting and engaging, and then doing it in a way that it fits the format of the website. So in regards to like putting a website copy together, it's really about crafting the copy to fit the page. So there's a design element, and then there's the technical side of it. And I think that is something that I'm good at. That doesn't necessarily mean that my writing style or voice changes, but I adapt it to where it's being placed.
Other small thing, like letter spacing, you put it too long, too big.
What?
I mean, it's kind of like hard to, like, letter spacing right now, you put like around 4 pixels apart. And
the cutting.
Yeah, the space between letters. It's kind of hard to read. And if you find someone has a dyslexia, the letter spacing is one of the big things for ADA compliance. So this is really too far. Like, if you cannot tell where the space is and where the letter starts, so you have to like pay too much attention.
Okay. Now, does anybody here work with Squarespace websites? I think Omari does a little bit. But...
Yeah, I have familiarity with it. I mean, I'm sure most folks here have probably used it to some degree. But,
okay. Thank you.
I like your well, thank you. I'm gonna throw it a little further. Like I have a website to throw in here, and okay. let's play with it a little bit and get some feedback on the copy, along with anyone else's feedback that it wants to be, and just like critique it, because it's not all the way there. For some reason, it starts to unravel near the bottom part as I'm trying to close the sale, and that's what I want to figure it out.
Before we leave Tara's, I just wanted to ask a question on hers. I don't know if you guys know this, but we're not receiving an option to turn off tracking cookies. Why is that? People know. I've noticed this lately.
Firefox blocks that pop up, and they automatically accept it for you, saying block all cookies.
What if I don't want to accept all of them? That's what I'm saying.
No, they block them all. The Firefox is if you're opening a Firefox, maybe in the Google too, they are doing it for you. So they might because it's the same engine underneath, so they might doing it for both.
Well, the message says by using this website, you agree to our use of cookies. That's it. Which I don't want to agree to that. I'd like to turn off the personalization cookies. Marketing.
Yeah, I think from a user experience and a privacy perspective, that makes sense. I think people are still grappling with the facts that GDPR and CCPA exist. I don't think most people are actually following the law when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Well, I guess one thing, most of the time I'm given an option. On this site, I'm not given an option. If I'm going to use the site, I have to accept all the cookies. So I'm wondering why that is. If that's maybe with Squarespace, is that a variable or?
I guess I just want to but again, if the site owner says that if you don't give me access, it's their choice. So leave it or stay. If you want to stay here.
Yeah, they might also be detecting that you're in the States, and so we don't apply for certain things.
Right. It might just be the template or the tech side that's lacking in my site together. I mean, and this is an older template, and I think if you swap it out for something new, a whole different deal, like you start over from scratch. There's a lot of things like when you're doing this from a design standpoint and not being a technical person that are limitations. So that's where you guys come in to fix those, I guess, hiccups.
Well, all I would suggest is some viewers might balk if they don't have the option. So you could lose some traffic by not allowing users to turn off cookies so that Squarespace can track them wherever they want. So it's
you're not gonna like my website.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if Squarespace has that capability, or if there's an add-on or something in Squarespace
that's the.
I know Squarespace has
figure that out.
I know Squarespace has built-in analytics, so I think they're responsible for creating that cookie notification.
Okay,
but I don't know.
Yeah, if it was WordPress, I could definitely suggest a plugin for that. But
yeah,
Squarespace, I don't know.
It's interesting that of the responses that occurred into a cookie being forced into the user, because the cookies are being forced all the time, whether or not they tell you they are or not, they're being triggered there. And unless you have your browser set on no cookies, which means that most websites are not going to work for you, those cookies are there. And for people following the laws or regulations right now, like, even though the regulations are out, it matters for companies that make over $25 million a year. Those are the only ones that are actually going to be persecuted or even checked out for this time. So everybody else that understands the regulations exist, the politics of regulations is such that if you're in a company that makes over 25 million a year, you have to follow regulations, because we'll come and fine you a huge amount of money. This is, you lead the entity. But for the other 99% of the population who does not work in a company of that size, the regulations are like rules that we don't actually persecute right now, that we will talk about doing someday, but really we're just trying to direct technology in a direction. So we're bridging right now for this permission set. Like the cookies were there before, the cookies are going to be there in the future. We have to track everybody. The idea that we can stop the tracking is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea.
It's all about the cookies. It's all about third-party cookies, which is like they can associate you through the. No one is talking about first level cookies. All the cookie conversation which happening is this third-party cookie means that, let's say, Google can track you against all different websites, right? Most of the authentications nowadays is done through cookies. No one is talking about blocking all the cookies. They're only talking about third-party cookies.
Right.
So it's a completely different story, right?
Yeah.
Because what it does, they put the special code before on your website. When you visit A website and you go to B website and C website with the same cookie, they know you are the same person, and they have the full story about you. All the even the people were complaining, like they go to your adult website, you go to your shopping website, and suddenly in Amazon you see this pop-ups which comes out because of third-party cookie. But anyway, I put the link in for the banner rejection automatically. Firefox since 2022 has this option, and they're doing it by default now to reject the cookies automatically if there's a pop-up.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Enough talking about cookies. Ryan,
Too close to lunchtime. People getting hungry. So okay. Well, I know that. Oh, Ryan, did you want to show something?
Yeah. Were you going to show a website?
I do. I have a website to show, but I'm getting a lot of echo, whatever that is. I think it's Omari. Omari,
Yeah,
are you doing that?
I'll just unmute.
I'll
I'll just mute.
What is going on? Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, we're going to share and open a conversation here. Let's see. Can you see this?
Where would we?
Not
No.
yet. Here it comes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I like the house.
All right. So this is a website product that I'm producing right now. And it has a various sets of design elements on it. And we're rebuilding this piece. Oh, it works beautifully. Look at that. All right. And so it's not this design, but this is the product. I'm just kind of showing what the product is. This is what I'm selling to people. And it took a long time to build this to work appropriately. So we have a website that sells this. This is what I want to quiz about today.
Looks too sterile to me.
Too sterile.
Like as a design person, the first page that you had with the house was lovely, but just like I'm speaking specifically visually.
Yeah.
This to me looks like spam. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't have a design quality with the color and the font choice. And that's something that it looks very commercial, which is, maybe that's what you want, but it feels very much like an ad.
Okay. It feels like an ad.
Is that what you want?
So
Yeah.
just looking at the home section, I don't mind like advertisements so much, but what I will say is I think you could probably get away with just using one of those devices and maybe have the building actually cut through the device. So this way, I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah, break the box right here.
Yeah, break the box. Maybe And then I don't think you need all of the other devices. I think just one device would be kind of cool to see that.
Okay.
And then you have a lot happening in terms of fonts on that main section. So so it's just like it's a lot happening in terms of fonts. Becomes a little bit distracting.
Right.
And then your button, the shadow's too dark.
This right here.
Yeah, and the font sizes are different from the nav link and the button.
Yeah, that is weird that the font sizes are different right there. Okay.
It happens.
You come down the page. This is the second section. There's also a lot going on with the fonts.
I'm not loving the font choice either. Again, to me, this feels like it doesn't fit like a design concept for me.
What kind of font would you imagine?
That's a good question. And I would say I don't have a focus on specific fonts that I like. I just know more when I see them because I'm not from the graphics world. But I think the change of colors is distracting. But this small, what is this like Arial or whatever this font is below?
A more elegant font would work better.
I think, yeah, you're thinking you want to be, this is design focused. So to me, this comes into like just when I say sterile, I mean, it doesn't appeal to me as a design client or a designer.
You mean like a serif font for one thing? It's all sans serif.
Oh, that's,
I mean, that's one foundational difference.
Yeah, I think it depends on who your target audience is, right? So if you're looking to work with someone who's tech savvy and this is a tech product, then I think your font is probably fine. If you were selling the homes, I would say maybe a sans serif font or a serif font would work because you would want maybe a more elegant look and feel. But if you're going for a tech crowd, I think the sans serifs that's usually what I go with for all of my clients because they're all tech clients. And typically when you're a tech company trying to sell a tech product, it's to tech people. So we're all using Intura, Poppins, Urbanist, Montserrat. All of these fonts are. I don't notice any difference really when I'm looking at these. Honestly, it's sans serif is a sans serif, and
I know quite a bit about fonts, but yeah, I didn't design it, so I like to get the feedback of it. I appreciate as it coming through. Like moving this to a serif font may increase the beauty, especially when you're targeting builders and builder clients.
Yeah.
If you're targeting architects, it's a little different.
And the color choice, is that their choice or yours?
It was a designer that built this. I just approved it to be built, and I'm looking at it, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, I could see on that second button, nobody really does white shadows. Like that's just not a best practice. If you go to the third section, and then I'm noticing as we go through just like accessibility issues with the text, not just the radial gradient on the text from section 2, but also this text over here is a little bit difficult to read. There's a lot of distracting lines in the background that intersect with the text, right? So just a simple blur would fix a lot of that.
Like this?
Yeah, just that particular area, still section 3. The smaller text is intersecting quite heavily.
Okay, I agree.
One thing I would say about color blue is that seems very medical to me. That light tone blue, you see that in a lot of like medical ads or signs when you go to the hospital. Like this says you build and we build, that light blue. That reminds me of all the colors they use when you go to UCLA and you're in the hospital room and their signage.
Okay.
That's just a visceral feeling.
For you feel UCLA blue when you see this blue.
Yes, but I think of it in terms of the hospital. Start looking,
McSorley Medical Center.
yeah, if you start looking at ads, you'll notice like the colors in ads and what like
Yeah, blur.
an internal feeling that you're not necessarily aware of, but you're sensitive to it.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. In certain industries, they tend towards certain color schemes.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you for the feedback for now. Coming down the page, we get to the portfolio section here. How do you guys feel about this?
I like that.
Not bad. No blaring issues.
If you go back up to what you had before, where you had the dark, the copy, or is the highlight, and then you had the text underneath, I thought that was nice. It was easy to read.
Here? Here.
No, down. There. User experience, credibility, future reading. I like that organization.
Text usually becomes easier to read when you create bolds, or when you're working with accessibility, especially as you start working into dyslexia. They start capitalizing front letters or bolding the front letters of words, and they have like plugins for accessibility where they actually go through and like not capitalize, but will bold the entering letters, like 1 to 2 to 3 letters of a word to.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. There's like an app now that lets you.
There's like apps, but if you actually create bolds inside of your text or some sort of differences in your text, it makes it easier to read and less blocky, because some people have strong resistance, emotional resistance to block the text, like we witnessed earlier today in our meeting. Someone in the meeting had a strong resistance to a block of text just because it didn't have break inside of it. So there's a difference here of opinion, and it has to do with learning styles or visual styles of approach. And in increasing accessibility for neurodiverse people, bolding things and creating differences in the text does increase accessibility. So there's...
And the boxes, I like that. Feel very organized.
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to take note, actually, because I remember while I was designing the section, I don't remember where I heard it, but they recommend for text that's of like size 16, you don't want to go beyond, I think it's 620 pixels in width, because then the text starts to feel intimidating. So that's just like a rule of thumb in UI design.
I hate white text. I hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
I throw it back all the time. I hate anything that's wide or scalable or wider than like 4 fingers. Like it's just like, I find strong repulsion to it personally, and I throw it back continually in design to the chagrin of designers all over the or maybe if I misuse the word, like they just, oh man.
Yeah. It's 16, I think 720 is probably the maximum, but typically 600 pixels wide. Like that's the rule of thumb that I go with now.
Newspapers figured out a long time ago. Like I read about this in accessibility back in like the 1920s, that like you narrow copy, it becomes more legible. So there's a
break your paragraphs.
Break your paragraphs, narrow copy down. It becomes all highly scannable. People like it better. They read it more. Like everything becomes more accessible as you use columns. And that's why the Wall Street Journal has like 8-10 columns across the front of it, and all these like columns on the side is the accessibility. That's why Pinterest works so freaking well. The bite sizeness of all the copy, and all these other ones. Yeah, interesting conversations today. We kind of like floated around, went back to accessibility. We're coming up on noon, so it's almost
we are
up here.
So,
but
yeah, we'll have
as I pass it over to Amari.
Oh, sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
I mean, as I pass it over to Mari here.
Okay.
Mari, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, because we typically have extra time allotted for portfolio day, for portfolio day. I know that we did have somebody else who wanted to show something. So if you guys do need to duck out, that's totally cool. I'm going to keep the room open and let, I think it was Jasmine, show something. Jasmine, are you there?
Me. Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah, I wanted to. Oops, sorry. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
Go for it.
Okay. Okay, I can share my screen.
Good stuff, Ryan.
While she's setting it up, Kara, if we don't have time to look at what I want to show, are you going to come next week?
I'm going to try. I'll try, yes.
Okay, because I think you're giving some good feedback, so I'd like to hear it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is nice.
Okay, can you see? Okay. Sorry. Well, I don't actually have a lot to say about it. The main objective was to, I guess, let my portfolio do the talking. But the technologies I used was React, Framer Motion, and what was the other one? Sorry, I'm blanking out. Presentation isn't my strong suit, so I'm just gonna keep scrolling. But yeah, I just wanted to reload the screen just to show you how it looks when you.
Those are my initials. AM. Sorry.
No problem. And I added some animation here. Just these are the technologies that I know. And these are the project. This is the work section. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't want to do too much with the website. I just wanted it to be simple yet elegant. So that's pretty much all.
Mission accomplished. That's good.
What did you use for an animation library?
I use Framer Motion.
Framer Motion. I'm not familiar with that, but it's beautiful. And it's all event based on mouse scroll on. It's all scroll event across the entire thing. And
nice. Framer's been coming up a lot this past month.
Yeah, the images are slow to load though.
Yeah. Do you have Photoshop?
Do I have Photoshop?
Yeah.
No,
Do you have Photoshop? Okay. If you send them over to me, I can optimize them for you.
Okay. Thank you. I'll do that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll drop my link.
Yep.
I don't know if you joined late.
Yeah, I joined a little late.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I've been doing websites for a while, and I've also had to do optimization for like video games. So I'm pretty good at optimizing imagery.
this design is banging. Did you build this design? Is this? Are you template? You built that? That is.
No, I designed it myself.
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, it's very well done.
Thank you. I designed it in Figma.
Nice.
You did?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you programmed it, and you programmed it. You designed this in Figma, and you programmed this in React.
Yeah. Yeah. So I design and develop everything every project I've done.
And so you built it by hand in React, or did you use a builder of some type?
No, I built it by hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took a lot of work.
All right.
I think it was
welcome
3
to the
weeks.
Party. You show up with all the skills.
I learned React, and I was just like, oh, heck no. Backed out.
You can design and program like this?
I gave up on coding, I think it was like 4 years ago. Yeah.
All right, drop your links. Let's connect on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, I can drop my 1 second.
Wow. So how much experience do you have? How many times have you done this before? This is your first time doing this? Good job.
Oh, you mean like my first portfolio?
Yeah. How when did you get out of training? Did you recently train?
I've been coding for just 1 year, I think.
Okay.
So this is my first portfolio.
Okay.
I think I finished this around August.
Did you go through a program?
Yeah, I did a coding program, but I've been self-teaching since December. So I did a coding program in February to August.
Okay.
Yeah, so 6 months.
And then you've been self-teaching for the next 6 months after training hard, and this is what you produce. Right on. I like the way you work.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll catch
Yeah.
up later. But sweet, this was a lot. You did a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's a
built
lot.
all of this, and you built it in React, and you put it all together with all this animation, and put it all the scroll events, and you programmed it all out yourself using the scroll events, using basic React. Show me the code. I just want to see.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
See how clean the code is.
Yeah, I just want to kind
So-
of. Okay, at this
Geeking out over
point,
here.
I'm just getting like a little geeking out
Oh,
here.
and you have the GitHub link there too. Nice.
Oh yeah. Let me stop sharing this screen. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to share the whole screen.
Now, I don't know if it would pass an accessibility test due to those colored fonts on that dark background, but personally, it was sexy. That thing looked great. Like all those bursts of colors like that, like in that modern magazine style with the
Thank you.
all the
But-
keywords accessible on top of it. The cloud.
I'm gonna send. I'm actually gonna drop a contrast checker into the chat if you wanted to check it. This is one of my favorite. It just looks really pretty.
Where was
Microsoft-
that website? Did you drop it in the?
I don't think she dropped anything in the.
Oh
Frost?
yeah, I don't think I have dropped anything. Sorry.
Frost, what's your name and
Or should I do that after?
mission?
Do it now.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Okay, let me just show you the code first. I'm just gonna put this in the chat. If anyone wants to see it. And wait, what else was I supposed to send?
He wanted to see the code.
Oh yeah. Okay, I put get my GitHub.
Oh, and he was asking your name as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's there. Do you have a LinkedIn?
Yeah, I do. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All right.
Good. Is this your presentation, like what you wanted to show, or did you want to show more? Jasmine?
For now, I think this is what I wanted to show. I don't know if you wanted to see any works that I've done, but I guess I can stop
I
here
just
if that's.
asking, yeah, because I have to go soon.
Oh yeah, I can stop sharing.
Yeah. All in all, I don't actually have any criticism. I think it's solid.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So I know Vera wanted to drop something.
Yeah.
As well. So I'll give her a shot to do that.
So do I click on present now?
Yes.
Mhm. Do you see?
I don't see anything.
Not yet.
You don't see anything? View tab. It says sharing this tab to Meet. Let me see.
There we go. Just took a
Now?
second.
Okay. So this is a fictional project, so I have something to add to my portfolio. This is very simple. It's supposed to be like an attention-grabbing post header that you would see on the top of a feed, perhaps like a LinkedIn feed or some other kind of blog feed. And it's to advertise a job post. So here you have a project manager. And then I did three examples following. Let me see, I need to go to mine. Like using the same kind of style of elements, but they are loosely correlated in terms of the style. They belong to the same style, but they're not supposed to be really tight in terms of how similar they are. And then this is the third one. So one thing that I wanted to do was to vary how much text and information there was on each post. So this one just has the title and a little paragraph and then the little box with some very important information. And then this one just has a big paragraph. And then this one is like split. So you have some essential information on the left and then some more information on the right. And then I did like variations that this is supposed to go on Instagram. So this is not like one long banner, but you would see the square on the left and then you scroll, you get more details on the right. So this is like a pair carousel post, just applying the same kind of style. But showing that this could be adapted to different formats. So let me go back. Well, let me go here. Voila.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, and this is kind of reminds me of what you might see in a slide deck or a pitch deck for a company. Some of the other slides.
And sorry, I'm not sure what was the application for this?
I did this in Canva.
Oh, I mean, what I mean is, how would somebody use these graphics?
Okay, so I saw a job post on not on Canva, on a freelance site of an agent that was looking for a designer for a recruitment company. And what they would want is to have 30 of these templates. And so then they would fill in the post with their own text, like with all their positions that they want. They would customize the template. So the ad was for the person would do like 30 different ones, and I did 3 as an example. And there wasn't a lot of like constraints or briefing in the ad, so I just imagined the style that I wanted and the color schemes and all the details. I just imagined it, so it was more of an imaginary project based on this freelance job advertisement. And yeah. Kara, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, here. You can see me now too. Yeah, I think it's good. It looks very corporate. So I guess if for your portfolio, you might want to have different options. Something like this that's like more template, corporate focused. You might want to have something that is more design focused, or for somebody that has, you know, like look at specific brands and then create a couple different templates that have a reference to different styles of brands. So it shows some versatility. That would be my suggestion. Because this is obviously one type of client, but you might want something, and maybe this is all you're looking for, but you might want something that's more design focused. You know, what we had with Jasmine, something that, you know, design something, you know, a little bit on that level, and see, you know, if that makes a difference for you with clients, you know, broadening your horizon.
Yeah, my idea was, in order, since I don't have a portfolio, when I saw a freelance job ad that I liked, I was going to just do like a simple exercise for that would answer sort of, you know, in the line of what they were asking for. And then I would add that to my portfolio. So to build my portfolio like that, sorry. So that I would have like more of a chance to get a specific freelance job. But I do agree that it would be good to have different kinds of projects. And to answer your question, no, I'm not just looking for this type of client. I just thought that I was a good fit for what they were asking for in the job ad.
And I think you said you designed this in Canva. So
Yeah.
I'm sure what the restrictions would be with that in terms of like, is a vector file, you know, what you would need for a website, or for what other types of uses you can use this for. I mean, I would look into that. Oops.
I believe that this was something stated in the ad, that they wanted the template in Canva. And I think that is just, I'm hearing a lot of that's because their staff knows Canva, so that's why they want the template in Canva.
And I would think if your design skills are beyond Canva, which is more for the lay user, not an actual design expert, that would be helpful as well if you're trying to, you know, offer different services. Because Canva is sort of like Squarespace. I mean, you technically don't have to have any design skill to use Canva. It's just a service-based template platform. So I'm just thinking that if, I don't know the market for people that are just wanting Canva designs, but maybe like Upwork or a couple of those other sites might, you know, be a good option for you, where you put these out pretty quickly for somebody who doesn't even want to bother learning how to use this, you know, Canva.
Yeah, I think what Karen is saying is valid. I do know when I was working at Mission, one of the requirements was that I was building templates within Canva for the marketing agency or the marketing department. I also had to create assets inside of like Google Slides for the sales department. And oftentimes I was using Figma in conjunction with both of those technologies in order to develop the assets, like the original files, and then I would recreate things in Canva or in Google Slides. So there is a market for Canva template designers, but it's definitely useful to have a software that's I don't know what you would call it, a more professional software in your tool belt, so to speak. And also, as the other thing that Kara mentioned, which I agree with, is related to trying out different styles and incorporating those, because it's absolutely fine to have a bunch of concept pieces inside of your portfolio, especially when you're just starting out. So that's perfectly acceptable. But you want to show variety across those concept pieces, that you have the range that you can probably adapt. The customer wants to feel like, oh, they can do what it is that I need. So trying something radically different, like the restaurant industry, right? Very
Well,
elegant fonts with white background works really well for that
yeah.
space. Yeah,
As I said, I wasn't thinking of just putting this up and say
course.
that's my portfolio. It's just like the first project. And disagree that you cannot do any design in Canva, because it really depends on what you do. Canva offers this huge library of pre-formatted templates, but you can also design from nothing, or you can adapt them. So I think that maybe if you haven't used Canva, you think, well, the only thing you do there is you change the text, and the thing just, that's all you do. You just pick out a template there and change the text, but you can design a lot of things in it.
Yeah, Canva is a super powerful tool. The thing that it's
Sorry,
not going to let you do
something.
it's not going to let you do vector manipulation. That's typically, I think, one of the biggest limitations of Canva.
Did we lose her?
Yeah, I think we lost her.
Vera.
Alfonso, yeah, there is a paid tier of Canva. And yeah, Canva is a super powerful tool. Like, I use Adobe Express, but Canva is super powerful. It allows you to create, I think it lets you create GIFs, and it might even have video editing nowadays. And I know they have a bunch of AI features that they just rolled out. So Canva is super powerful. It just doesn't have the advanced stuff like vector manipulation and image. It might even have image editing, but not much.
I've used Canva, and I actually find it easier than Adobe Express. But I'm just wondering, what are the sites besides? It's like Upwork, and is it Fiverr or the other one where people post these services and they're pretty? I mean, it could be a guy in the Philippines doing it, and he's doing it for like $10, and it's great.
That's
But
the competition.
yeah, that would be the only challenge, is that there are people that just can do this stuff so quickly and so cheaply in other countries through those sites. But that would be like an opportunity maybe to get some business.
Yeah, there's also the opportunity of productizing. So like to professionally create the templates for Canva that you sell for Canva. That's another avenue I've considered. You could do that on all of the marketplaces though. You could do that on Figma, Canva, and a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Do you know much about that? So you actually can sell that, you can license those graphics to Canva?
So
No,
I watched a video
not
on it.
Canva. Sorry, but no, you don't license to Canva. You sell it directly to whoever wants to buy it.
Well,
And
I'm asking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I'm asking a different question, because Josh, you mentioned creating the actual templates for the Canva platform.
Yeah, so I don't think that by creating the templates, you get placed within the Canva like searchable menu. It's more like you're selling notions outside the template gallery. Or so you're outside in your own marketplace. Maybe you have forgot what it's called, but like Gumroad, something like that. And you have your own little marketplace. But I'm not 100% sure with Canva.
I know.
I know that happens with Notion. Yeah.
You can sell the Canva templates, like for example, on eBay if you want. And then other people who have a subscription to Canva, they'll buy your templates and they'll load them up, and then they will customize them. So, but it's, as Joshua says, Canva will not allow independent designers to sell their templates inside Canva.
I will admit that I have bought for events. I think, was it Joshua, you were talking about event signage and that kind of stuff. I have bought signage off of Etsy, and it's incredible. You can
Yeah.
find like beautiful font and templates for menu cards and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty easy and it's really inexpensive.
Yeah, Etsy's super popular. Also for the Notion community, Etsy's super popular. Yeah, Gumroad is another one that's really popular for like 3D models and Figma templates, I think, as well, and just like really large files. Yeah.